The Lost Documents. Major Group. The Lost. Who are the Lost? The Lost is a collective term referring to the multiple ancient cultures within the Backrooms, which have allied with each other over the years, building up a very large nation divided into discrete parties. Each faction of the Lost has different cultures, rules, and attitudes towards other groups within the Backrooms. The Lost's creation stems from before the creation of many other major groups, and have seen parts of the history of the Backrooms that no other known surviving group has. During the period at which the Lost's first faction joined the Backrooms, humankind had yet to grow much at all, and thus were able to grow to a larger size without the threat of other warring factions. The exact number of members within the Lost is unclear due to their seclusive nature. However, it may be anywhere from 50 to over 500 individuals. Relations with the Lost should be held in high regard, as war with any one part of the faction means a war with the entirety of the group due to their bond in arms. Allied societies. So far, 2 allied nations have been documented to be a part of the Lost. The Lost Sons. Who are the Lost Sons? The Lost Sons are an ancient collective of North American peoples. They are suspected to be the first faction of the Lost. The Lost Sons are mostly made up of ancient North American civilizations, such as the Mayans, Inca Empire, and some Native American tribes, like the Sioux. However, some refuse to join the Lost due to differing cultural beliefs. They are among the earliest people to have discovered the Backrooms and are thought to be the oldest still surviving group within the Backrooms. They predate the Meg and most other groups in the Backrooms by centuries at least, though the exact age is nearly impossible to tell. The initial tribes formed when the various groups and tribes presumably entered the Backrooms at around the same time, eventually forming an alliance with each other with the end goal of returning to the civilizations they had lost. As time passed, they failed to find an exit and began to live off the land, slowly indoctrinating other groups and individuals over the years in secrecy. For a long time, the Meg and most of the other broader Backrooms communities were unaware of their existence as they kept primarily to themselves. In time, alliances would be made with other communities and groups to work together in the Backrooms. However, the Lost Sons are considered the first true Lost Society. Lifestyles and customs. The Lost Sons live a largely nomadic lifestyle, splitting up into groups and spreading throughout one level until eventually uniting after an often multi-day hunt has occurred. After this, they will consume their spoils and then repeat the process in another location. They typically hunt in levels 1, 3, and 5, and are not opposed to hunting in other levels given the choice. The Lost's outposts are initially set up when they first make it to a level, though it is not recommended to enter one of these outposts initially. If one wishes to join the Lost Sons, they must show a demonstration of physical prowess and a genuine desire to live like they do. The first and hardest step is finding a leader who is willing to oversee the Wanderer's training. After this, they will usually assign some kind of hunting mission that could range from killing a skin stealer to making a journey to the hive. After this, you will have to learn the Lost's language and then go through one successful hunt with other Lost members. List of individual tribes: the Lost Mayans, the Dynasty of the Suns, the Great Stones. Note that none of these subgroups have been confirmed, rather, they have been observed by individual reports across several levels. The Lost Legion. Who are the Lost Legion? The Lost Legion is a faction of the Lost formed by ancient Greek and Roman wanderers who had discovered the Backrooms during the Pyrrhic War period. They then formed a large survival group before deciding to team up with the Lost Sons. They decided to do this in spite of cultural differences, as they believed the Lost Sons to be great warriors who could prove important allies. The Lost Legion still values hunting. However, they do so more for the glory of battle than any kind of cultural or religious customs. They live a more sedentary lifestyle, having outposts and other pockets of civilizations throughout levels 3 and level 2. They are the easiest locations to reach with the most number of quarry to hunt. The Lost Legion is much more hostile to outward interaction than the Lost Sons, and as such, very little information has been gathered about their culture. They also speak a language that has not been translated as thoroughly as the Lost Sons language has, and as such, interactions often lead to frustrations due to the language barrier. When the Lost Sons move to a level the Lost Legion occupies during a hunting expedition, they will usually stay within one of the Lost Legion's outposts during their hunt, rather than making a temporary one of their own. Lifestyle and customs. The Lost Legion lives a lifestyle similar to ancient Greek society. However, they now allow the worship of either Roman or Greek gods and find them mostly interchangeable. Studies find that the Romans and Greeks were forced to work together to escape the Backrooms at the beginning of their entry, and since then the two cultures have mostly formed into one cohesive group. The Lost Legion has threatened war with various other groups in the past, however, have never acted on these threats, as it would involve the Greater Lost and hurt the reputation of the Lost Legion within the overall group. List of individual groups. The Lost Legion uses a warrior-based group system in the event of war. Hunters in the general population do not form into tribes like the Lost Sons. The Bronze Elite, Poseidon's Fury.